I cannot wait to see different matchups and just the Holy Knights going against the Straw Hats, specifically the Monster Trio. It's going to be crazy. The Holy Knights Devil Fruit revealed, Luffy versus Loki, and the truth about King Harald was revealed. Oh, chapter 1143 was in its bag. Let's talk about it. The chapter is also titled Holy Knights, which is a little bit shocking to me because, well, I don't know. I feel like that's very generic. I feel like we've already gotten introduced to that, but we didn't. But hey, that's what the chapter's titled. Saul is chasing after the children. He's like, hey, they really are sleepwalking, and he doesn't heed the warning of Professor Wolf or Mr. Wolf, whatever his name was, the guy that was battered, bruised, and blooded, because Saul goes and tries to touch the children, but the moment that he touches them, some type of thorny force field is on them, so they end up having this protective barrier around them, which causes Saul's hands and other parts of his body to get blooded because he touched those sharp objects. And of course, because of the state of emergency, the kids are unconscious, they're sleepwalking, there's the different monsters in the forest. Angie, she calls the party and, you know, the elders as well, and like, hey, Dory, Broggy, everyone, we need your assistance. Be on high alert. There's fire. We need that taken now. We need somebody to stop the monsters. We need somebody to wake up the kids. This is a small detail, but I still want to talk about it. Look at the size of the transponder snails. You have someone like Nami, Jinbei, and Brook that are standing next to it. I know Nami, she's a normal sized human, but Brook and Jinbei, they're pretty tall. And the transponder snail, the scale of it, when you look at it compared to other ones, it's the size of Jinbei and Brook. So just love how Oda's paying attention to detail when it comes to scale during this arc. After receiving this distress signal, they send out a fire savar to go ahead and take out the fires, when all of a sudden, I don't remember exactly what the name of it is, but which I'll probably have it drop somewhere in editing, but there is a giant skeleton, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like Brook is cosplaying or something, but nevertheless, it is pretty damn big, and it smacks the fire savar out of the air. So hey, it's, you know, damage control. They're going to need to put in some work because these monsters are not going to let them go around scot-free. This is where we cut to Sommers, Gunko, and Killingham, who are enjoying the meal in the middle of the forest. Honestly, it kind of surprises me how the Holy Knights, well, I guess more specifically the Celestial Dragons, they don't like being in the lower realm whatsoever. So the fact that they're just enjoying casually a meal here is a little bit shocking, I guess, but at the same time, well, they got nothing better to do, so hey, I guess you might as well eat. And so this is where we got introduced to Killingham and Sommers Devil Fruit, which I was a little bit skeptical about making a video. I did a short earlier because I wasn't entirely sure whose Devil Fruit was who, but a lot of people in the community were saying that Sommers had the ability to go into people's memories, which isn't the case. That is cleared up in this chapter. Sommers, he has the Thorn Fruit and is known as a Briar Man. Pretty freaking cool stuff. I said this in my reaction, but I talked about how I'm recently rereading Black Clover, like the manga, and Charlotte, right, her ability, she is the Briar Queen, and you know, anytime we get introduced to thorns or anything like that, it's so versatile, has so many different uses. It's pretty cool, and I don't know, it's funny how, like I said, I'm reading Black Clover and I end up seeing her use her abilities there, and now I see Sommers use his abilities here. And then Killingham, he is a mythical dragon fruit model killing, and he is a dream materialization man, and this is confirmed because he is eating the food that they dreamed up. And so he asks Sommers for salt, and Sommers is like, salt, but he ends up thinking about it, falling asleep, and then Killingham, he's able to pull the salt from his dream. Hence why there's the different dream demons that are going around Elbaph, because Killingham can use it simultaneously while he used it to get salt and, you know, like I said, create this meal and also get stuff from the other kids. And I think this might all confirm what the matchups are going to be during Elbaph. How Luffy, his gear 5th, it allows him dang near to do anything with his imagination. It's kind of similar, I guess more like stronger than Killingham's power, so I think they'll be the matchup. And then I think Sommers and Sanji will be a matchup because they both talk about love, and Gabon talks about love as well, and Sanji's supposed to be his parallel. And then lastly, that leaves Zoro and Gunko. I do find it pretty interesting, right? The Holy Knights, they're sitting up here casually just minding their business, not really taking things seriously, and Gunko, she's like, hey, don't let your guard down. I saw a certain ship anchor at the village. Emperor Straw Hat Luffy, he is on Elbaph. I cannot wait to see different matchups and just the Holy Knights going against the Straw Hats, specifically the monster trio. It's gonna be crazy. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never saw a new video. I put out different One Piece content almost each and every day. Loki's like a caged animal. He's sitting here raring and ready to go. He said, nobody can stop me. None of you can even lift Ragnar. And this makes me bet the question. Number one, is he saying that because Ragnar is such a big freaking object, it's a big hammer, that physically nobody's able to lift it? Or is it similar to Thor and Mjolnir, how you have to be worthy in order to lift it? How someone like the Hulk with all the big muscles that he has, that he was unable to lift it, but someone that's worthy like Thor or like Captain America, they were able to lift it. And so, you know, that would mean that the size of the hammer like isn't even a factor because it would be as light as a feather. I wonder if Usopp, because he has that Usopp 5-ton hammer, if he's going to be worthy enough to lift Ragnar. I think that would be pretty funny and pretty cool at the same time. I do find it pretty interesting how Gerd is trying to stop him from, you know, doing this. He's like, hey, think about the children. But at the same time, well, technically it's kind of ironic. The children are already in danger because y'all aren't letting Loki go and stop the Holy Knights. Haruden, he's about to give in to what Loki is saying. Zoro's like, nah, dude, like don't fall for that. And Luffy, he's ready to go. He said that if Loki did something that he didn't like, that he'd send him flying or knock him down. And so Luffy charges up a gear third attack and he ends up clocking Loki, and this causes him to fall face forward. Like I said, the scale of Loki is insane. Such a big nigga compared to Luffy, but it doesn't matter. Luffy fights big opponents all the time, and this proves that Loki, he was standing because of his willpower and just overall bravado, because like I said, taking one punch from Luffy wouldn't really knock you down like that, but he took so much attacks from Gunko and Cerberus that he lost so much blood that all he could do was stand, and probably whenever he was going to be freed, he was just going to hide somewhere to recover so that he could actually be close to full strength. And so Luffy has a request. He's like, hey, please save Loki. You know, I don't care what type of person he is, I don't want him to die. And obviously this is tough for Haruden because of the relationship he has with Loki. It's much different than Luffy, how he knows the truth to a certain degree, and just more so the type of person that Loki is, how he was mean to him as a kid, bullied him as a kid, and they never had a proper conversation. And so Gunko, she's trying to save him as the doctor, and Luffy looks at his horns. He's like, hey, they're legit. I know somebody was in my comments one day talking about, oh, Loki, his horns aren't legit, it's just the helmet. Nah, dude, I said this a long time ago. He is an ancient giant, and this chapter proves it. And we also get a little bit of a flashback with King Harald. Like I said, they're trying to paint him in a good light, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But in the flashback, this is, I guess, more so from Haruden's perspective, and Harald talks about, hey, you guys are both my precious sons. I want you guys to get along and do what you can to support Elbaph. And compared to Loki, Haruden, he's weak, and he's also, I guess, technically has dirty blood within him. And so Loki, he's like, hey, how do I have a big brother that's this strong and has dirty blood within him? Also, back then, Loki, he has what appears to be Kaido's, I forget the actual technical term for the weapon, but he has Kaido's club. That's what I'm going to call it. And so a lot of people have been speculating based off of that and the horns that Loki and Kaido are related. And so because he has all of this, you know, hatred towards Loki, Haruden, he picks up an axe and is ready to attack him, which I kind of find cowardly. He wants to be a warrior, of course, but you know, if you're going to attack somebody that's wounded, that's kind of weak. Can't even lie about that. And I love what Loki says. He's like, hey, if you're going to do it, but you're so drunk on all this personal drama, you can't even see the forest from the trees. And that essentially means you can't see the big picture or the truth for what it actually is. Because Loki says, do you really think that I killed our father in cold blood? Do you really buy that? Now, there are two things. Number one, hearing this, Haruden, he could, go back and say he talked about, I think it was in the last chapter, how Loki just deceives people, tells lies, and you can't trust anything he says. So maybe Haruna won't actually believe him. And number 2, I've been calling this from the get-go. Harald, he seemed fishy. The way that the giants talked about him seemed like they loved him a little bit too much, and of course he has connections to the Holy Knights, so definitely there is something fishy that's going on. And maybe Loki caught wind of him dealing with the celestial dragons, and then they end up fighting and of course killing him. We're probably going to see that flashback in the next chapter. I'm really looking forward to it. But let me know how you guys feel about chapter 1143 in the comment section below. We're off break, so this is a good chapter and there is no break next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from me. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. And don't forget to unleash your potential.